let's start talking about the kids who aren't ever talked about.
Exactly. Welcome to Jersey Matchat. This episode is sponsored by Beato Baits, 5-inch stick baits designed by a wrestler, built to win. With a range of color options and a perfect sink rate, these things will get bites when nothing else will. And don't miss the mystery color, made from leftover plastic each week, melted down and molded into one-of-a-kind baits. No two are the same, but they all catch. Perfected for anglers who just want to catch more fish. So, if you're grinding on the mat, take that same energy to the water. Beato Baits, B-E-A-T-O. Tough to beat, easy to fish. Check for the link in the description of this episode, or you can find them on Etsy. Today we got Nevin Mattessich today from Bosco Prep. Doug, tell us a little bit about this hammer.
Nevin Mattessich, multiple-time New Jersey State place winner, Don Bosco stud, heading to Brown University. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Nevin, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Great to meet you.
So why don't you tell us about your commute here? How much of a nightmare was it?
It wasn't great. Well, a lot of traffic. Took longer than expected, but,
Well, how long is longer than expected?
2 hours.
Yeah. Man drove 2 hours here to be a part of what we're doing. We appreciate that.
Yeah, man, we really
I appreciate you having me.
No, we do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So, all right. I ask everybody that goes to a non-public school the same question, and I ask you the same thing. I'm an 8th grader. Convince me to go to Don Bosco Prep.
All right. Really strong on the brotherhood. I think that's a big part, and it's not just something that I would say to get them to go there. It's like, honestly, the truth. It feels like all your classmates really do become your brother over time. And that's just like a great support system that I've like experienced firsthand. So I would definitely talk a lot about the brotherhood. Obviously, education is pretty well respected, and definitely high level in a lot of sports. So it's like you can't really lose in any area with it. It's all wins. I've
been up there. I officiated a playoff football game there many years ago, and I do remember it being there's like multiple buildings. It's a campus.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Yeah. It's multiple buildings.
That's a lot of thing that draws a lot of the kids.
Yeah,
into.
Yeah.
They see the campus. It's really nice.
It is. From what I remember, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So were you zeroed in on Bosco as an 8th grader, or were you exploring other schools?
No. So I was actually I was looking a lot at St. Peter's Prep too in Jersey City, but honestly before 8th grade I didn't really think that I was gonna like wrestle at a private school in high school. I kind of was just like, I'm just gonna wrestle at my public school, and whatever happens. And then 8th grade year, I was kind of like, I want to pursue wrestling. I want to do it collegiately. So I was like, that's way far out. I gotta kind of worry about where I'm gonna go to high school first and where it's gonna better me. And like my mom went to public school, my dad went to public school, my older sister did. So it was kind of like
interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we never really thought about private school until a few coaches reached out. So I was looking at St. Peter's, and then I was looking at Don Bosco. Don Bosco was way closer, and it just kind of felt like the right fit. So I decided on there.
Well, for those who don't know, what public school would you attend? What's your ascending district?
Paramus High School.
Paramus High School, big school.
Yeah.
Yeah, big school.
They're not terrible at wrestling either. They have a couple good kids. They used to be pretty good back in the day, too.
If I'm not mistaken, Nick Siriano is a Paramus kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if you went to Paramus. We would put them on the map.
Yeah.
And then add you into the mix. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Academics? How's your academics? Mr. Brown?
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely put a lot of time into school and, getting my schoolwork done. I kind of value it as much as I value wrestling because, at the end of the day, as much as wrestling is like really important to me, it's a big part of my life. So it's like my education. So I'm always making sure I'm keeping up with my academics. And even when it gets hard in the season, like, keeping up with the schoolwork and the wrestling. Cause, like competing at such a high level for wrestling and then like coming back from these like crazy tournaments, you're like burnt out. You just want to like go home and sleep and you're like, damn, I have to do like a lot of homework now. I've just kind of made myself used to doing that and that feeling, and it's kind of just become routine now. So I make sure to stay on top of it. My dad's on top of me too. So
now, when you have a private school like that, does that help with academics? Is it different from when you're experienced with public school?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and at least in middle school, any middle school is different from high school.
Yeah.
So that's obviously gonna be different. But just based on that, like, so many more resources at private school. The teachers are really willing to help because they know that like 90% of the kids are like athletically driven. So they know like they have to like, help the student athletes, help them work around their schedule. and just like kind of be like I don't know the word for it, just kind of like help make sure that they're helping them because they know the kid's situation.
Support. Yeah.
Just
Great
being a support system.
So you guys, who do you have returning next year for next year's squad?
So me, Dante, and Santino are
Luca
returning.
and Rodriguez.
And Rodriguez, yeah.
Okay. Remember, not everyone knows them on a first name basis.
Yeah.
It's
my bad.
That's all good.
So we've been the captains the past 2 years. I think we definitely have a lot of success on our team. It's very young. We have a pretty young team still. And, we've been saying that since my freshman year because me, Santino, and Dante, like we were the young ones and everyone was like, oh, they're a young team when we weren't as successful as we are now. So we still do have a lot of freshmen and sophomores that are on trend to kind of be successful and have a good season. And I think that those returning like freshmen and sophomores, I think that they're gonna probably make some noise. And me and Dante and Santino, we are kind of holding ourselves to a higher standard. We wanna go like win it all next year as a team and individually. So.
Non-public A is brutal.
It is, yeah.
It's so
from a team standpoint, it's like it's kind of crazy to say, but we don't want to go in as a team thinking like,
of course,
we're gonna lose. We want to do what we can. So
I get all that. Yeah, I mean, but I just imagine being a non-public A and just knowing what's in front of you. I mean, you've got some
like
hammer
sport,
teams. Yeah, it's you're right, across the board.
Yeah,
but mainly wrestling. It's just
wrestling especially.
You
got
crazy.
Joe's, Bergen, Bosco.
They got a new coach now, right?
Yeah, we just got Coach Almeida.
Is his? Do you think his philosophies? Do you anticipate it being similar or different than the previous coach?
I think it'll probably be a little different. I think a little more team oriented. In the previous years, especially when I was a freshman, like it's not that I didn't feel like we had a team. I just felt like we were all very focused on our own goals and so locked in that we never really got the opportunity to come together as a team and have like that like team moment where we just kind of like put it out there for the team. So I think that that's a big part of Coach Almeida's philosophy. So I think this year that's going to be like a big part of our success. And like when you see our team kind of like starting to win and kind of be on the up, like I think that's going to be a big part of it, that we're all coming together as a team.
Yeah. About the schedule, do you think it's going to be similar to what it's been in the past?
I actually don't know yet. I talked to Almeida a little bit about what he wants to do with the schedule this year, and he definitely wants to kind of build it around what me, Dante, and Santino are doing and our goals are, so that we kind of like peak at the right time, at the state tournament. Obviously, you want to do good at like tournaments like Beast, Escape, whichever ones we go to. But I know he's definitely trying to put together a tough schedule for us. Definitely want to get us some national looks and obviously have us do well at the state tournament.
No, growing up, did you know Dante and Santino prior to Bosco?
I didn't really know. I knew of them just from like going to the youth state tournament. Yeah. I kind of knew who they were, but I wrestled Dante a lot. I forget if it was 7th or 8th grade year, but we wrestled like at like probably like 10 times total.
So you've always been in the same weight.
Yeah, so we were always like competing.
Big guys have always been big guys.
Yeah.
And Santino's what? He's
actually always been a little guy. He was like 120 freshman year.
Okay.
And before that, he was even lighter, I think.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, geographically, are they? You're from Paramus. Where are they from?
They're both from like the Hanover Park. I think is their school. Yeah.
Hanover Park produces a lot of good wrestlers.
They have yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Why the hell don't they stay at Hanover Park?
They would have a crazy team.
I know. I mean, year after year. I mean, they really do spit out talent. Yeah, they do. I mean, Nicky Ramo, he runs a club. He's from Hanover. He stayed at Hanover Park.
I was just going to ask.
He had success.
Club there.
Yeah. He had success there. It's interesting. Hanover, I hear a lot of people from Hanover Park. So talk to me. Clubs. Where do you train?
You just said the Ramos. So we actually, during the season, me and Dante were going to Ruthless a lot to train. He's my main training partner. I train with Santino a lot in the room, but he was 165 this year, so he gets a lot of his own training partners that are a little closer to his weight. But me and Dante being heavier, we definitely went to Ruthless a lot this year after practice. My home club is Olympic Wrestling Club with Florian, Coach Florian. I'm sure a lot of people know who he is because he's just pretty crazy. But
he's been around a while.
Yeah. I grew up going there. There's actually a couple Bosco guys that went there when I was younger, like Kelly Dunnigan, and he's always been really good. So I go to Olympic pretty consistently just because that's where I grew up, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. Florian puts on.
Do you go there? Do you pick? Let's just say it's a random night of the week, and you could go to either or. Is there a reason why you would go to Olympic on this night rather than Ruthless, assuming it's the same night, or are they the same nights?
They are the same nights. Florian is like big on like the fact that he's 8 times a week. Like
8 times a week.
Yeah. There's 7 days of practice, and then he does a clinic on Saturday morning. So he's like big on that. But he knows that I need to get different looks sometimes if there's not always someone in the room at Olympic for me to wrestle. So he's really understanding that. But it's not like I would choose. Maybe just if I have more time, I'll go up to Iron Horse too with Coach Francavilla. There's definitely a lot of hammers there, so it's good for me to get up there. So he's understanding that. It's just whenever I have more time, I'll go up to Iron Horse. You know, if it's like now, like it's like busy with school and like during the season, it's easier for me to get to Olympic. It's a better sweat too in the season because he keeps the room hot. So yeah, just stuff like that. And then Ruthless, I mainly go because that's like Dante and Santino's home club.
Yeah.
So the Ramos have been like really welcoming, just letting me pop in with them.
A lot of people have been lately, at least in my conversations, they're really talking a lot about Ruthless.
Yeah.
A lot about it.
I see there's a lot of there's like a lot of young talent in that room.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing Ramo's doing a good job. That's good for the sport. More options, I think, the better. I think sometimes it takes kids they get comfortable, and I don't care. It could be the color of the wall. Mm-hmm. It could be the bathrooms are too clean, too dirty. It could be anything. Kids need different things to get comfortable. Yep. And I think the more legitimate clubs that pop up, obviously, the better.
What do you like about wrestling rooms? Like, what do you look for when you go to a room? Is it partners? Is it coaches?
I think partners and coaches are the main thing. Probably more heavy on partners too, because obviously like all the coaches, they have different, like you said, like philosophies. They run different practices, but like at the end of the day, it's like who your partners are, who's gonna push you, who's better than you. You got to make sure. Obviously, you need days where you're going with a guy that you're probably a little better than, where you're like working your moves. Like being able to kind of like just do what you know and get to your like bread and butter, just kind of just drill repeatedly. But you also need those days where you're going to get like beat up and you're going to, because that's what makes you better at the end of the day, is just like hard live wrestling and just hard drilling with guys that are, a little maybe more experienced than you or just straight up better than you. So definitely partners. That's like a big factor for me.
We got a saying in jiu-jitsu, you're either the hammer or the nail, and you got to be both to move forward 100%.
Well, DC's big up there, and that started off, from my understanding, as you might know more than I do, but that's like a big guy's room.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been there in a while, actually. I used to pop in there every once in a while, like last year, maybe 2 years ago, but they definitely have a lot of heavier guys there.
Now, have you always just been a big kid?
Yeah, yeah. In 8th grade, I was like 180 pounds. And
you ever play football?
Yeah, up until 8th grade, and then I quit. When I decided I was going to go to Bosco for wrestling, I quit football.
So what made you say wrestling's my sport?
I just liked it more, honestly. Okay. Because I honestly, I thought I was like pretty good at football. I wasn't like terrible. I don't know how I would have done in high school, but I just had more of a passion for wrestling. Like I just liked it more.
Were you better in wrestling than football?
I think so.
Okay, well that always helps the decision.
Yeah, that probably helped a little more too, but definitely I was way more passionate about wrestling. I thought that's where I was going to succeed more so.
So I noticed something that I do pay attention and I do kind of watch, and I'm a fan, but I noticed you have a kind of an ongoing, I guess it's safe to say, a rivalry with Kaleb Jackson. You wrestled him, I think you wrestled him last year in States. You wrestled him 2 years ago in States. Mm-hmm. I think you wrestled him once or twice in a duel, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Do you know Kaleb?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty friendly with him because in middle school we wrestled a few times. I guess our dads kind of became friends just from like watching us wrestle, because it just became so often we would wrestle at like all the duels, like Atlantic City duels, like South Carolina, like all those, whatever the duels were, PA. So we started training together a little bit. He used to go to Olympics sometimes, and then we got older. He went to a different high school, so we ended up just kind of falling the same weight. He was always a little lighter than me, but now we've wrestled probably 5 or 6 times now.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Atlantic City. I mean, you beat him. I get the years confused. You beat him last year, and he beat you in States the year prior? I know it was, or did you?
Last year when we wrestled in States, it was for 5th, 6th, and I won by like a point or two. And then this year, he beat me by 2 or 3 points in the quarterfinals. So that was a pretty tough loss, but we go back and forth. So
what do you do? So when you wrestle someone, let's just say over and over again. Mm-hmm. He's preparing for you. Yeah. Maybe he's trying to find a chink in your armor, or vice versa. But do you change anything you do?
I mean, I definitely think about that like before the match. I'm not necessarily thinking about that like after I like beat him or he beats me. I'm like, oh, I need to do like this like specifically for him, because I don't really like to. Not that I don't focus in on certain matches that I know I'm gonna have or certain people, but it's like I like to keep my training more general, because I feel like that just gets like not stressful, but stressful, honestly.
Yeah.
Like to just worry about like one person, like, you know, nitpick like a match, but yeah, like I think just us wrestling so much, like I just kind of like do whatever works. Like I mean, I definitely feel like all the times we wrestled, it's definitely like different. Like we're always doing different things, so it's always different. So you can't really like necessarily like prepare for it too specifically. But
I got you. What do you weigh right now?
I walk around like 90, 95. I'm trying to put on more size, so I'm cutting a little bit more, because during the season I always end up being a little lighter.
90 again next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Brown. Let's talk about Brown. I find that interesting. It's that's what Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. Exactly,
Yeah.
Is that where it is? Yeah, Ivy League school. Brown has never really been known as a wrestling school. Now, so my question to you is that was Brown? You are committed. You're officially committed to Brown.
Yep.
Okay. Was Brown? How many schools were you visiting when you made the decision to go to Brown?
I visited 4 schools. I visited Brown was actually my first visit, and then I visited Cornell, Princeton, and Penn. And you know, I liked them all, but I liked what Brown had going on. I really liked their coaching staff.
Okay.
That was like a big factor for me, which I actually didn't think that would be a big factor for me, because like I said before, like I really value partners and other things, but like, you know, I kind of realized I was like, I'm going to be here for the next 4 years wherever I'm choosing, and like these are going to be like my mentors to some extent. So it was like, I really like the coaches up there, Coach Walls and Coach Lean. They definitely are really.
When did they start? Did they reach out to you on the June 15th deadline, or did they have you in their sights? You know, around that time, did they mention that they saw you in the circuit, certain tournaments? What drew them to you?
Yeah, I think I had reached out before. I reached out to a couple schools before, just, you know, like send like a general email. And, you know, not all of them are going to get back, but Brown was one of them that got back on the 15th. So that was also a big thing for me. I felt like you feel like valued, you know? So that was big for me. They reached out on the 15th, and it was just like continued conversation from there.
So go ahead.
Quick question. So if you were going through the recruiting process again, or someone younger than you was going through it again, what would you learn from it that you would share with them going through to make sure that they pick the right school for themselves?
Just make sure you feel comfortable there, because you might like the idea of a school, you might like the way a school looks, or even when you go on your visit, you might have fun on the visit and like what's going on. But like when you leave, you got to kind of like make sure that's where you feel comfortable, because like that's your home for the next 4 years. And then like even after that, like once you graduate from a school, like that's not the end of your time there. Like you're going to want to go back, you know, help and stuff. So it has to be somewhere that you're comfortable with. Just making sure you're comfortable.
So you weren't sure you were going to Brown before you went there?
No.
Yeah.
I kept all my options open. I really wanted to see what was going to be like best for me and my family. So I definitely think Brown was the right choice.
It sounds like, based on the visits you said you made, sounds like you were going Ivy one way or the other.
That was definitely, I said I really value my education. So that was like, if wrestling was going to be like kind of like a tool to, you know, allow me to go to an Ivy, that was definitely a big thing for me. And, you know, I wasn't limited to Ivy. Those just happened to be the schools I visited. I talked to a bunch of non-Ivy League schools. I just committed before I really got the chance to visit more. So,
and I'm assuming, campus-wise, Brown is more similar than Princeton than a Cornell. Penn's like in the city. That's kind of different, but
yeah, I think it's like a mixture of like if you literally squash together like Princeton and Penn.
Okay.
Because it is in the city.
It is, okay.
But it is like enclosed though. Like there is a part where you could tell when you're on campus versus like
the grassy, courtyards
like
and
the
all that
courtyards
stuff.
and
I got you.
When you get off, it's like a city.
Okay.
But I like that.
What do you project yourself weight-wise? 97?
84.
In college?
84, 97. Okay. I mean, it's honestly whatever the coaches say. Obviously, I'm going to try to solidify myself at 84. They have a really good guy there now. So I don't know how it would end up fitting in there. But, you know, I mean,
It's actually a good question. Do you look at that when you go to school? Who's in your spot at Brown, your weight class? Is that something you take into consideration?
Not as much. I mean, I definitely would look at it, see who's at my weight, probably just because I want to watch them, and I've watched all the teams I visited before, so I kind of have an idea of who it is. But I don't let it be like a turn off for me.
Gotcha.
For like a school, because at the end of the day, like when I go there, the kid I just said is pretty good. Like he's gonna be an upperclassman. Like he'll be graduating soon. So you can't. I feel like as much as having a spot right away is important, you gotta kind of like weigh it out. Like
Big picture.
Yeah, big picture.
Yeah.
What are your plans to? What are you going to major in when you get to Brown?
Probably political science. I heard that they were adding like a
lot of politicians have gone through Brown.
My friend,
Kennedy's,
my friend got into politics from there. Yeah.
That's definitely where you want to go.
Yeah.
Based on what I know about politics and
they added
stuff.
like a real estate major or something
Okay.
like that. I'm pretty sure. So I definitely look at that too.
So I can't imagine. So how do you anticipate? You know, you're not there yet. How do you anticipate balancing Ivy League academics and what is pretty much a full-time job of wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had to prepare myself for that when I like kind of made the decision like this is what I want. Like, I kind of went in knowing like it is a full-time job, but I also went in knowing. Because all the Ivy League schools that I visited, especially Brown, kind of emphasized like there is resources. Like there's kids on the team, there's kids off the team. They're all gonna like help you. And like once you're in the school, like all they want to do is like help you to like succeed. So like it sounds kind of like cliche, but it's like true from what I've seen. Like these kids really do. Like if they're struggling in class or something, they get help. If they're struggling on the mat, these coaches will make the time like during the day to fit it in to the kids' schedule to like put in personal work with them. So. That was like an important thing for me, making sure I'm gonna have the resources to succeed.
Makes sense. You got to have a work ethic to get in Brown like that. Yeah, 100%.
What's your GPA now at Bosco?
We get it back on like a 1 to 100 scale. Like it's basically just our average. But like if you convert it, I'd have like a 4.0.
Now, curious question because I do not know how this works. It's Brown. Did you have to score a certain amount on an SAT? Did you have your GPA? Like explain to me and everyone.
Yeah.
How did the acceptance? How did that go? Like, what did you have to do to get accepted?
I still have to go through the application process because it is like you're kind of committing to like the admissions process in a way because you still have to go through all the steps and it's really not a shortcut. You still have to go through the same thing that anyone else applying does. You just kind of have the athletic support. There wasn't necessarily like a threshold that I had to meet. I'm sure if I scored too low, then they would have let me know that was like problematic. You know, I keep my grades high, like I said, so. That was like a big part, like is your transcript. But you know, I'm taking the ACT again this Saturday, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm curious because I know some schools don't even the SATs they're slowly it's just going away.
Yeah, they're trying to eliminate that. I think all the Ivies are still tests.
Yeah. Because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
You know, you can have one, you can retake the SAT, I get it, but your 4 years of high school is summed up by one test.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of that either.
It's
I was never like a standardized test person. You got to study a lot for it. So
talking about pressure.
I think they said it doesn't count as much in the admissions as it used to. Is that true? I don't know if it's true or not, but
I don't. Nevin would know. I don't.
Yeah.
I've never applied to an Ivy League school.
I got a different question though. So now that you're in and you're committed to Brown, does that change anything senior year, mentally wise? Like how do you approach that?
I mean, I feel like you would think it would kind of be like the pressure's off, but like I want to like perform well. I want to let them know like they kind of chose like they chose a good guy. Like I want to show them that like what I'm about. And for myself personally, like it's my senior year. The only way it kind of takes off pressure is that I'm not wrestling and trying to win matches to impress a college or impress coaches. I'm doing it for myself because I put in a lot of work for this. So I want to go like win it all. I want to go out with a bang my senior year. So because I feel like it's the end of my high school career. So I want to use all the work that I put into these years to kind of
100%
just throw it all out on the mat. So,
So let's look ahead and let's assume you're going to get your degree from Brown.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just say, for sake of argument, you get your master's from Brown. Let's just say you stay at Brown for your entire, post-grad, whatever you decide.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself coaching after you graduate Brown, or do you want to go right into the workforce?
I think I'd probably end up going right into the workforce, but I don't think I'm gonna be done with wrestling.
Yeah.
I just feel like I wrestle for so long.
It's in you.
Anyway, you just can't you just can't wake up one day and like graduate and you're like, well, like that's it. So I guess whether it's like maybe going back to Don Bosco helping, hopefully I'm making a lot of money. Hopefully I could donate back to Don Bosco's wrestling team, Brown wrestling team,
Like
stuff
they,
that.
they need more money. I'll tell you. Money just grows money.
Stuff like that. I still want to be involved in wrestling.
Are you active in the freestyle circuit?
Yeah, not as much this year, but I did a bunch of freestyle last year. It's just very different.
Very,
very different.
What do you think's harder?
Used to. Oh, freestyle, 100%.
100%.
For me, at least.
100%.
For me, it's 100% harder. For the general public, I'd say like 50-50, because some kids are just good at like positionally, like being in a position where they could just throw someone. It's like boom.
It's a specialized art form. There's no.
You got to really know how to do it to be good at it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because I talk to people and it's just like in freestyle, in folk, you get taken down. It's like, okay, settle in, get out. Freestyle, you are 5 seconds away from getting teched.
Yeah. It's not like you could
done.
Get right up anyway.
Yes.
You gotta lay there and like.
You're 5 seconds away. The match is over. Even if everything's been going great for 4 minutes, you're 5 seconds away. You're toast.
Yeah, my son just had his first freestyle tournament. It was interesting.
Brutal?
Yeah, it was brutal, but he loved it. I mean, he learned from it. But it was.
That's the only thing I really don't like about it, is that it's how quickly you could go from being up so fast, losing. But it is really good for folk style, I think, at least.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
Like definitely. Like
is Brown big on international style wrestling?
I mean, I know they had a lot of their guys go to the U20s and U23s this year, so I think they definitely encourage their kids to do it, and I'm sure they probably make a lot of them do it. But yeah, no, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's good.
When you commit to a school, I'm just curious in general, Brown or anywhere else, do they get involved in your senior year? Do they get involved in your training at all? Do the coaches pay attention to you during the year?
Oh yeah, I mean, like in summer, in a few weeks, I'm gonna go live up at their RTC for a few weeks and train with the team and the other like recruits and commits. So that's definitely like something good. They definitely want to see you like continually like working. I mean, they can't really, I guess, get involved in like your high school schedule, because unless they want to go call your coach and like kind of tell them we want to see them do this or that. And I'm sure Coach Almeida, if they ever did, you kind of like work it in. But no, I mean, they definitely follow you. They definitely like see what you're doing. They make sure you're doing good. They give you a lot of support. Like this season, I was actually I was surprised. I actually got a lot of support from Coach Lean and Coach Walls throughout my tournaments. A lot of advice, like for like overnight tournaments where it was several days. Getting calls like giving me advice for the next day, giving me support. So that was great. It's good to know that they're like watching and trying to help.
For all the wrestlers out there, what's the best piece of advice you got? What comes to mind?
Probably just leave it all out there while you can, because you're not thinking about it in the match, but it's 6 minutes. Like you think about it after it's 6 minutes. Just give it everything you got, because you're not gonna be able to give anything after the match is said and done. So just give everything while you can.
I got a totally random question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is 100 wins overrated nowadays?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely I think it's just not as like crazy of an accomplishment anymore. Obviously, I think it's a great accomplishment. I hit 100 wins this year. I was really happy.
But as a junior, you did it as a junior.
Yeah,
that's a different milestone.
Yeah, I was really happy about that. That was definitely a goal of mine. I wanted to get
that's impressive. This junior. I would agree with you. Yeah, that's impressive. Yes. No, I'm talking about in general, assuming you hit it your final match as a senior.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it depends where you go to school. I think there's like some public schools that have like kids that aren't really as dedicated to wrestling, but they're wrestling like 30 duels a season or whatever the max is, against like these other public schools with kids who like
are part-time wrestlers.
Yeah, part-time wrestlers. Yeah. And they're winning matches, which is like great. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, go get your wins. Like, that's great. But I think it depends where you go to school if you're competing against. Like,
my follow-up to that is this: do you think the standards of wrestling in this state have dropped?
Maybe a little bit, but I think what it is, just talking to my coach, because one of my coaches, he wrestled in like the early 2000s, maybe a little before, maybe like late 90s, but he said it was like at states, there would be like the 1 seed would wrestle like the last seed in states, and it would be like a 1-point match. And that's something you would never see today. Like the 1 seed would like smoke the
right. Well, first of all, back in those days, the top 4 in regions did not go.
Yeah, I know, it was different. It was like 1 seed versus 16 seed or whatever it was. But regardless, like still, that's like not a matchup that everyone would be like looking at 1 versus 16 seeds. So
correct.
I think in that sense, maybe it got a little less deep, but there's definitely like top 8, top 10 guys at each weight, like top dogs. So
You're obviously a very intelligent, articulate kid. So, if you could be king for the day, all right, what would be one thing you would change about New Jersey high school wrestling in general? Anything?
I gotta think. Maybe like
Take your time. And in the meantime, I'll just admire Pete.
I got a good question anyway, so I'm thinking about it in my head when he's done.
What I'd change.
I'll tell you what. Let's make it
make
simple.
the season a little shorter. I feel like it is really drawn out towards the end.
Okay.
But that's about it. Otherwise, I kind of like.
You like the state of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you think the rule change in New Jersey high school wrestling going to 3 points this year is going to help you for college to make a difference? What would you think about that?
I mean, I wasn't happy about it at first just because I was like, it's the middle of my high school career and that's like a big change. And then the 4 back. So I was like, it's just crazy to kind of just like throw out on a kid like, now it's 3 points. But, that was going to happen anyways when I went to college. So I think it's kind of like, might as well have that now. I think it definitely made me more aware of like my neutral too. Because I feel like I wasn't as good on my feet freshman year, and I'm working on that a lot now. So I think the 3 points makes me more work because it's harder to come back from now.
Yeah.
Taken down.
I've asked other big guys this. Do you try to wrestle like a little guy? Do you know what I'm asking you?
Yeah. Sometimes I see like these little guys doing like these crazy scrambles and all this stuff, and I'll try to like do it, and I'm like, I just don't think I can move like that. But I definitely try to wrestle like a little guy sometimes because it honestly is a good way to wrestle.
I agree.
Slick.
I agree with you. I think. Do you think big guys who wrestle like little guys are more successful?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think in this like the sense that you could like the bigger guys that are doing like super ducks and have like really nice like low singles and shots and just stuff that you would consider like lightweight moves. Like I think that's definitely a really big factor in like big guys' success.
Do you notice
you see big guys like that are winning a lot, that are ranked really high? You see like what they're doing, and you're like, oh, they wrestle like a little guy, and that's why. So,
do you notice as the coaching landscape? Again, I'm a father to a little guy. A lot of the rooms that I go to are 95% little guys.
Yeah.
But my question to you, as a bigger guy, do you find coaching has the landscape changed in terms of how big guys are coached? Do they teach you big guy stuff? Or are they teaching you universal, the same stuff that they're teaching the 120-pounders?
I think it depends where you go. Like at Bosco, we had a bigger coach this year, Coach Austin, and he would kind of roll with us sometimes, and he would kind of make the moves like for us at least more geared towards like bigger guys like me, Dante, and even Santino sometimes. But Santino, I'd say he wrestles like a little guy. He's very like fast and quick. And me and Dante are kind of not more defensive, but like a little more on the defense, and then we'll hit like, a nice offensive move. And I think our coach Austin really helped us with that. But I think it all just goes back like wherever, it depends who your coach is, who you're getting coached by.
I got you.
Like, I think it's good to just have like the universal kind of things taught to you, see what works for you.
I like picking the brains of upper weights.
Yeah.
I do, because it intrigues me. I know the sport is the sport. It's all the same. The goal is to win, and takedowns are worth same amount of points for a 190 versus a 132.
Yeah.
But I've always been fascinated on, do the big guys train a certain way compared to the lighter guys?
Yeah.
And the answers have been pretty consistent. So I'm assuming that wrestling's wrestling.
Wrestling's wrestling.
Wrestling's wrestling.
Yeah.
So are you a nutrition freak?
I wouldn't say freak, but this year I definitely started focusing on it more. I didn't really focus on it a lot before this year. Not because it's more because I just didn't really know that played as much of a role as it did until I started doing it this year. And I'm trying to amp it up a little more now. I do champion athletes.
Yeah, Dan Wernickoff.
Yeah, Dan Wernickoff.
Wow, man, that guy's popular.
He is popular.
Yeah, he does he pretty much everyone. I'll say like I go to Dan and they're like, oh, Dan, yeah. But I go to him and he was really helpful this year, putting me on a plan. Because like I said earlier, like I really struggle sometimes during the season doing like the double practices to stay heavy. So me and my parents were kind of like, we need to do something to kind of like keep you big, but we don't want you eating like crap, just eating like fast food and stuff that's like that'll get you heavy, but it's not gonna make me feel good when I wrestle. So Dan's been really helpful with that.
So you're right at that weight where, do you bulk or do you?
That's what's like. Yeah, that's what's harder.
You're like catch weight.
Yeah. right now I'm kind of trying to bulk. I'm not trying to like reach a certain weight, but I'm just trying to put on size. I'm trying to prioritize my strength this off season. That's like main thing I'm focused on getting.
For the young kids coming up, explain, like, because obviously you've experienced it, how big and important is nutrition in your game?
Yeah, you're gonna feel like, especially because the matches are longer than in middle school, you're just gonna feel the difference. Like, you're gonna feel so much more tired after those 6 minutes than you would in a middle school match, 3 minutes or 4.5 minutes, whatever it is. And that's all nutrition. Like how much water you're drinking, what food you're eating before the match, after the match. Like that's all going to play like a huge part in your tournaments. Tournaments especially, I'd say, because as much as it's important to keep on size and stuff, like what you eat right after a match and right before a match, like that's so important. I realize now, just based on how I feel before and after matches. So yeah.
So quick question: the year before you did the nutrition, give me an idea like what were you eating before and after a match, and then what changed the year after?
I mean, I'd say like before, I would always have like after I weighed in, probably like a bagel, like a bacon, egg, and cheese, like something like that. Just like typical breakfast that I would have like any day. And I don't even think that that's that bad. Get some carbs, get some protein from the eggs, but it's just different. Now it's like you got to eat like fruit, stuff that's like high in sugars, like high carbs before you go, like good sugars and good carbs. So it's just different, like having a lot of fruit now and like rice cakes, honey stingers, like it's just different. There's like good stuff to be eating before and after the matches. I'm sure most people like know.
Yeah.
Like now, because now it's becoming like a really popular thing to kind of watch what you're eating.
So when's the last time you actually had to cut weight?
Freshman year, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I was 175 freshman year.
Yeah.
Now, we talk a little bit about Don Bosco. I remember you telling me that there was a big, kind of a resurgence in the program.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, they got a new coach.
Yeah.
Bosco has always been, how can I describe Bosco? They've always been there.
Yeah.
But they've always been in the shadows of Bergen Catholic, or they've been in the shadows of Del Barton, or now it's, SJR, or there's always been, I don't like to call them like the stepchild, but they've always been there. But we're talking football, that's a different
That's what I'm saying. They're primarily a football
We're talking
school, right?
wrestling.
Yeah.
We're talking wrestling.
I agree. We're definitely
they've been there, but they just can't get out of the shadows of the same
I agree.
program.
Like some years were better than others, but there's always like the top dog team like Joseph Bergen.
They're just so far off the grid. They're in the top right part of New Jersey. If they don't pull from New York, and I know it's a highly densely populated area up there, but I would think that might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then again, so is SGR. They're tucked up on the border too.
Yeah,
they managed to find success. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. The campus is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's in. I'm pretty sure the real estate up there is primo. I'm guessing anyway. I don't know why someone would choose a Bergen Catholic over a Bosco or vice versa. I don't know. I'm not a North Jersey guy.
That's interesting.
Maybe he went to Bosco, so he's going to give you his reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always $1 million question.
It's always interesting to hear the difference of the programs. Like Bosco, I've heard of for years. Actually, I used to work for a guy who was a football player there and stuff. But that's what I've always known it for, is a football program.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're no joking. Football.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think this year we definitely want to change, like, kind of just being that, like you said, kind of like stepson or whatever.
Yeah.
We want to be like a top dog team. We want to be competing with Joe's, competing with Bergen, and we already do, compete with them. We have our hammers, our kind of better guys. Then we have the guys that we need them to step up, and we're gonna really try to like put
Who's coming in? Who's coming in?
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
Give us the scoop. Who's coming in?
Who's excited?
Actually, I'm not really sure.
I'm not buying it.
No. I'm really not sure who Almeida has in mind coming in. I mean, I'm sure he's going to try to.
How do you not know?
I mean, I'm sure now that we got a new coach, Almeida, I'm sure some kids, maybe kids looking to transfer, are kind of looking at the program like, it might be a good opportunity. Maybe reaching out to Almeida to see like what's a good weight, stuff like that. As far as freshmen, I'm really not sure actually.
I believe you. You seem like an honest kid. I'll go with that.
Do you guys get involved in recruiting at all for the high school stuff? For some of the stuff?
Trying to like convince friends or kids we know that are like kids looking to transfer, like, come to Bosco. Now it's like we got a new coach, there's spots open, like, we need guys.
Yeah, I would make sure.
I hear you. So now, you said your goals next year is to what? What's your goal next year?
I want to win states,
Of course.
Yeah. I want to win it all.
Only goal that makes sense to me, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when will you sign with Brown? When is it official?
This fall.
This fall it'll be official. Okay.
I'm pretty sure this fall, or I don't know. It's either fall or spring.
How far of a car ride from you is Brown? Not that far, right?
No, maybe like 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah. So now, do you see yourself? Do you like the fact that you're far enough away where you're away, but close enough that where you can just drive?
I wanted to be far. I wanted to kind of get out there. Yeah,
not far enough.
But I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a car ride away. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I think your parents are probably grateful that you're 3 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I was the
Sure
same
they're
distance
happy
away,
about it.
actually. And that's what I went about 3 hours away. I went to Maryland, so I went about 3 hours away. It was a good
it's like
distance.
Far enough
Yep.
where like
Perfect
parents
distance.
can't pop out.
You feel like you're on your own.
Yeah.
But mom and dad are right there to hand you,
can-
cash.
you can go back
or
if you
whatever
need
they
it.
do now. Yeah. It's all good. No, it's cool. That's good stuff. Listen, man, all I want to tell you again is we appreciate the hassle getting down here.
Oh, for sure.
We of course, we're rooting for you. You guys, you're a good kid. Hope everything goes well. And in a perfect world, after a year at Brown, let's come back. Let's chat about it.
Yeah.
'Cause something about that university is, I don't know anything about it.
No.
I don't know anything about it. But I want to know more about it.
So this is our first Ivy Leaguer on, right? Committed Ivy League? Ivy League or no?
Ivy,
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's awesome.
So you mean Matchat history.
That's it, brother.
First Ivy.
Matchat history.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Man.
it.
All right.
Great meeting you, man.
You too.
And this has been another episode of New Jersey Matchat. Attention, wrestling fans, parents, and future state champs. This is your podcast. We're shining a light on the toughest high school New Jersey wrestlers and coaches who are building warriors one takedown at a time. Follow us, like, and subscribe on your favorite platform. Doesn't cost you anything, but it goes a long way to support the show. Don't just watch the journey, be part of it.